We are now ready to implement the newsfeed. The newsfeed container class is a bit big, so I'll split down the functionality into smaller methods that build the various pieces of the UI. We'll use infinite container, which lets us scroll an infinite list of entries and implements pull to refresh. Now that we have a sense of what we are building, let's look at the high-level class skeleton, then fill in the pieces. We use the last time value when invoking fetch timeline posts, so the latest data arrives. This method is invoked when the user scrolls and needs more data, or when pull to refresh is used. It's hard to tell how many components will return, so we'll use a list and convert it to an array when we are done. If this is the first entry, we reset the value of last time before making the request. The top is always the same component, the post bar. That's where we can add a new post. We check with the server if there are more posts. If we reached the end, null is returned, and we return that too. Otherwise, we loop over the responses and create a news item for each post. We add it with a space separator. Notice the usage of create news item in the code. We update the last time value to the last element, so the next request continues from the last place. We convert the list to an array and return that data. We referenced create post bar and create news item. Let's look at the former first. It's a relatively simple method. There are 3 buttons here, none of which look like a button, and each one should take us to a different form in the finished app. We lay out the entire title area in a border layout. This allows the right post field to grow and occupy the available space. Next we have the create news title method, which is very similar in some regards. We need to format the time as something that's more human readable, such as 3 minutes ago. Again, we place the elements in a border layout, but this time we wrap them in flow layouts within, so they vertically align properly. This is subtle and hard to notice in the image. Notice that the name jots up just a little bit in the unaligned version, but this can be more obvious when the font is smaller or the icon is larger. Also notice the placement of the menu button. Next up is create post stats. It's again a very simple method. I broke it out just to keep the code size smaller, so we can review the blocks more easily. The status bar appears above the like button. It's only there if there are likes or comments, otherwise it shouldn't show. I could have made this code better, so it will write 1 comment and 2 comments, etc., but I wanted to keep the code simple. With that, we are ready for the final method in this class, create news item. This method assembles the post entry from the pieces we already built: the title entry, the rich text view or span label, etc. The 3 like, comment, share buttons are packaged in a grid so they will have the same size and align properly. Everything else is packaged together in a XII container with good padding. We have quite a few UI IDs we didn't cover in CSS yet, so let's go into those. The button looks like a text field when we press it. We go directly to the post editing form. The gallery button has small font and padding, so it can fit in the same row as the other elements. The padded container UI ID is often too heavily padded for some UI elements. This uses 1.5 mm instead of 3 mm in the standard padding. We'll use this in several places as we go on. Here it doesn't matter as much as it mostly shows an icon. The title and subtitle use regular font, which makes them stand out next to the light font used in the rest of the app. This is literally a round blue circle with enough padding to show the thumb within the circle. I just need a label with a font small enough to fit. That's all the CSS entries we need, so we can lean back, press play in the IDE, and watch the first form element in the application come to life.